Okay, so the LILJ is joined right now by recently newly appointed head coach of the boys varsity lax team at Port Washington, Coach Glenn Lavey. Coach, how you doing here today?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be back in the game, man. Coming to Nassau County, I'm really excited about Port Washington and the challenge of playing all the great teams in Nassau. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so Coach, just first and foremost, congratulations on getting the job over at Port Washington, coming back after being out of the lacrosse game in terms of coaching at a high school for a few years. But just kind of talk first and foremost, just a little bit about your lax background from a coaching standpoint, how long you've been in the game with coaching. I know you were previously coaching at Harborfields, but just kind of give the audience just a little background about yourself from a coaching standpoint.
I've been a football, basketball, lacrosse coach for the last 25 years. Then I started focusing more on basketball and lacrosse. Most recently, like you said, I was at Harborfields. I was the varsity boys basketball coach and the varsity lacrosse coach for a number of years. Now I'm coaching hoops at Cold Spring Harbor. I've been in a lot of places, Northport lacrosse. I've been pretty much everywhere. I coach every season, that I've been in education. And then I've been a teacher in the Herricks district for a long time as a phys ed teacher. So I'm excited to be at Port Washington now. I'm really excited about the challenge.
Yeah, so you're making the shift now, coming over to Nassau County to coach the Port boys team. So just kind of talk about what really, like, I guess, drew your interest into getting back into coaching high school lax after being off for a few years, and really what kind of excites you about taking over this program.
Well, that's what it was. I wasn't actually looking to get back into it. I didn't have a goal of that. Port is one of those rare places that when I saw that it opened, really the pressure's on the coach because they have everything you need to be successful. It's a great community, a lot of success over many, many years, rich tradition. And then they have a lot of good guys from like second grade up through senior year class. So if you can kind of get everybody pulling in the same direction, I think great things can happen right away. So it's pretty exciting. It's not that you have to build anything, you just kind of have to get everybody on the same page, which just from meeting the community and the different boys in the program, like everybody's ready to go. So I think it's going to be great right from the start.
Right, and Port, they're a program like you talk about a lot of success that they've had. They're of course a team that's perennially at least in the Final Four of Nassau County. It seems like every year in Class A, going up against teams like Massapequa, Farmingdale, Syosset. So of course a lot of success for the history of the Port Washington program. So really, are you kind of just looking to really continue to build upon that success and just kind of elevate this program to another level?
Well, I don't think you look at it that way. I mean, I think you take it day by day. But when I first met with the boys and the families, that's kind of how I said it. I said, "There's been great teams long before us, and great coaches, and great players, and great families. And that's the case now, and it'll be that way long after us. This is our little window to put a chapter in the book that nobody's ever going to forget and create a legacy." So that's how you look at it, I guess, long term and short term. But it really happens by just grinding and working hard and being positive. The good news is if you do those things and you have talent, you have success. So if we can do those hard-nosed things, I think we actually have some lacrosse players that can play ball. So that's why it's so exciting right away.
Now, just in terms of like your coaching philosophies and like potentially like coaching principles, just like what are some of the things, I guess, from a day-to-day standpoint that you're really looking to instill into the program, as you said, just taking it day by day and going through this process?
Yeah, just to respect the process, to be a little thing program, to do the little things well first that lead to the big things. And like you said, don't talk about championships and Final Fours and legacies and all this. We just have to have a great practice on Monday and then a great practice on Tuesday and then a great game on Wednesday. And then whatever happens, a great practice again on Thursday. It's one brick at a time. And that's the mentality you really have to have, that there are no shortcuts. And a lot of times you got to win the fist fight first before you can win the lacrosse game. And then that's the mentality that we want to have. Just keep it real simple, get all the guys in the right spots and just overwhelm teams with effort. It sounds simple, but it's actually very difficult.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of that stuff. The same thing that wins in every sport. It's kind of the same things. So it's kind of a universal thing, the little things that lead to winning.
Now we know that the guys at Port Washington, a lot of them, we were talking a little bit before we jumped on here. A lot of those guys are football guys, so they may still be in season. But just in terms of like once you get a chance to kind of really introduce yourself to these guys and kind of get going here with some off-season stuff, during the winter. Like any plans to kind of get some stuff going with these guys as you really look ahead to the spring season coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. But first, I just wanted to mention I went to the football game the other day. They're having an incredibly good season.
Nice.
And they beat Freeport. I think it was 29-8. And any guy that was doing great things is a lacrosse guy. So again, it bodes well for the guy who takes over a lacrosse program when you're watching football and, you know, guys are knocking each other over and running for 200 yards against Freeport. They're pretty talented athletes. But yeah, so we haven't really gotten started yet because they're good football and soccer players. But yeah, as soon as that stuff is done, we're in 3 tournaments this fall. We have a winter league that we brought to Port Washington. We'll be playing like Massapequa, Wantagh, I think Syosset, Lehigh, the 6 or 7 teams in that league, so we can get playing right in our backyard. So we'll get together enough to be ready to go, and the boys are so excited. You know, they want to do football every day and lacrosse every day, but I just don't think that's possible.
Now, another thing that we kind of talked about a little bit before we got started here was just like the level of talent in the program, not just necessarily on varsity right now, but kind of stemming down to the youth. So really like any ways that you kind of see yourself potentially like incorporating yourself or like your coaching staff just involved like with the youth at Port Washington just to kind of like help sustain the development of the youth in lacrosse in the Port Washington community.
Without a doubt. And it's really the word is connecting it, meaning oftentimes there's towns like Port Washington that have a great youth program, but then there's no connection with the 7 through 12 program, which is always frustrating to the youth coaches and the people who organize at the younger level who put in all that free time. So, like I said, one of the great things about this is I don't have to create anything. Everything's already been created. Now I just have to come in and say, hey, what do we need to do so we can connect the great things that are below with the great things that we want to do here? Hey, I have some ideas. You have some ideas. And let's make this one program from K to 12, which, you know, nobody in Port cares about Harborfields, but it was very similar. Harbor's had a great youth program, and maybe there wasn't a connection there. So maybe I got credit for all these amazing things. And the reality was I just kind of connected all the things that were there. And that's why, again, Port is so exciting. Everything that needs to happen has already happened. It might just be a matter of just tweaking it a little so that it all connects and it's all seamless. So there's a lot of things to be done, but the infrastructure is already there, which is great.
Well, Coach, I just want to thank you again just for taking the time to take part in this interview. And again, congratulate you on being named the new head coach at Port Washington. And I really just hope that you have plenty of success there and just enjoy the process. And I really look forward to covering the Port Vikings squad in the 2025 spring season.
Yeah, man, good looking out. And we really appreciate it. And there's going to be some good things from Port this year. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Coach. Can't wait. Thank you so much.
All right, talk to you. Bye.